The Wacky Workshop. The bell above Spark Innovations chimed a discordant welcome, a quirky overture to the inventor's domain. Lily inhaled, her lips curving into a smile. The air hummed with a bizarre concerto of ozone, hot soda, and a whisper of caramelized sugar, an olfactory promise of uncharted territories. Mr. Spark, she called, gingerly sidestepping a discarded drone chassis and a scattering of circuit shards. A miniature robot, shaped like a beetle with a single, blinking optic, zipped past her foot. She bit back a giggle. This place felt like coming home. Back here, lily pad, came a voice, muffled by a mountain range of metal shelving. Squeezing through a narrow crevice, Lily entered a brightly lit haven dominated by a workbench. A chaotic tapestry of wires, tools, and what appeared to be a repurposed toaster oven greeted her. Mr. Spark, radiating an ageless energy somewhere between seasoned inventor and mad genius, tinkered with a ladybug-shaped automaton. Goggles rested on his brow, exposing eyes that danced with infectious zeal. Lily pad. Precisely the engineer I require. This little darling refuses to cooperate. He indicated the robotic insect with a small screwdriver. The presentation is tomorrow and Mrs. Higgins is relying on her to pollinate those prize-winning petunias. A thrill shot through Lily. A genuine repair. Usually, her tasks involved sweeping and attempting to tame the workshop's sprawling entropy. I'll see what I can do, she breathed. Mr. Spark's face split into a wide grin. That's the spirit. Examine the left-wing actuator connection. Likely just a stray wire. He passed her miniature pliers. Gentle touch. She's a delicate creation. Lily scrutinized the tiny robot. Her fingers trembled slightly as she found the actuator and carefully tightened the microscopic screw. Still nothing. Recalling Mr. Spark's words, sometimes, lily pad, it's not mechanics, but loneliness, she took a steadying breath. Whispering to the ladybug, she murmured, come on, you can do this. Mrs. Higgins' petunias are depending on you. She flicked the power switch. The ladybug bot shuddered, then, with a triumphant whir, its wings sprang to life. A wide grin bloomed on Lily's face. Magnificent, lily pad. Absolutely magnificent. Mr. Spark clapped her on the back, nearly toppling her into a crate of spare cogs. You possess the knack, the spark. Lily blushed, reveling in his praise. Just a loose connection, she mumbled, downplaying her success. Balderdash. It was your intuition, your empathy. That distinguishes a mechanic from an inventor. An inventor doesn't merely mend, they comprehend. He snatched up a fistful of tangled wires. Behold this jumble. Others see disarray. I perceive potential. 1,000 nascent possibilities awaiting release. He tossed the wires back onto the workbench, a manic gleam in his eyes. The world overflows with challenges, lily pad. And each challenge is merely opportunity masquerading. Opportunity to craft, to innovate, to subtly elevate the world, one whimsical invention at a time. Lily surveyed the eccentric workshop, robots in suspended animation, tools littered across every surface, the palpable, unadulterated force of invention itself. A vision seized her, a robot born from her own imagination, streamlined and potent, capable of solving tangible problems, undeniably extraordinary. A fire ignited within her, hotter and more intense than any soldering flame. She wouldn't just fix things. She would conjure them. She would invent. The thought both terrified and electrified her. Helping Hand 3000. Chen, Lily. Mr. Spark's pronouncement reverberated through the immense workshop. His gaze, however, remained fixed on a blueprint projected onto the distant wall, not on the assembled students. You're partnering with me. The Helping Hand 3000 needs an infusion of ingenuity, and I suspect you possess it. Lily's jaw went slack. Huh. She nearly stumbled on a stray cable in her scramble to reach his side. Mr. Spark, renowned for his rigorous standards and enigmatic remarks, had singled her out. All right, Chen. Ideas. What's the purpose of the Helping Hand 3000? He indicated a skeletal metal structure, vaguely resembling a human form, with wires snaking from its unfinished articulations. Still stunned, Lily stammered, everything. It could prepare breakfast. Walk pets. Produce artwork. Mr. Spark arched an eyebrow. Artwork, really. Let's remain grounded in reality, for now. Consider practical applications. Think of the end users. That brought her down to earth. She pictured Maya, sometimes struggling to reach upper shelves. It needs extended reach. And, perhaps, the ability to open stubborn lids. Maya constantly asks for my help with jars. Good. Strength coupled with finesse. Record that, Chen. Mr. Spark motioned towards a tablet. Now, the true hurdle, integration. He tapped the skeletal arm. This appendage must interpret intricate instructions. It requires sensation. Lily's eyes widened, fixated on the tangled mess of wires. Sensation? You mean touch? Far beyond simple contact. Pressure, texture, thermal detection. It must discern between a plum and a potential explosive. Lily swallowed hard. Hazardous devices were certainly not part of the initial spec sheet. The subsequent hours dissolved into a whirlwind of circuits, transducers, and servo mechanisms. Mr. Spark barked out directives in a dialect that bordered on English, liberally sprinkled with technical jargon that soared far above Lily's comprehension. She gave it her all, but more than once, she misconnected wires, resulting in miniature electrical storms. The sharp tang of ozone permeated the air. Chen. Focus. Mr. Spark snapped, though not unkindly. Red wire to terminal B7, not B6. Lily's cheeks burned. She felt utterly incompetent. Maya would likely grasp this instantly. She conjured an image of Maya deftly soldering connections, her brow furrowed in concentration. Lily, conversely, felt certain she'd just fried a critical component. Irritation bubbled up. Perhaps she wasn't suited to this endeavor. Maybe she was merely a spark, doomed to extinguish. She was about to admit her inadequacy when she noticed something peculiar. A minute tremor in one of the robot's unseen lead eyes. Mr. Spark, she ventured tentatively, I think. I may have accidentally made its eye twitch. Mr. Spark scrutinized the robot. The lead pulsed again. Intriguing, he murmured. Very intriguing. Perhaps fortuitous errors are precisely what the Helping Hand 3000 requires. He refocused on the schematic, a newfound brightness in his gaze. Now, Chen, let's determine if we can induce intentional blinking. Wires crossed. Lily worried a groove into her thumbnail, her gaze fixed on the serpentine nest of wires within the Helping Hand 3000's core. The clock was ticking down to presentation. A sheen of nervous perspiration dotted her brow beneath the workshop's unforgiving lights. Abernathy, her former mentor, was bringing in the big guns to investors who could make or break her. It had to be flawless. She swiped at her perpetually disheveled bun, conjuring the schematic on her tablet. Crimson to azure, viridian to gold, ebony to ebony. A frown etched itself onto her face. The diagram clearly showed the black wire from the wrist rotation servo attaching to the grounding plate, not spliced into another black wire heading straight for the power source. A wave of nausea washed over her. Almost ready, she muttered, throat constricted. With fingers that fumbled, she severed the incorrect connection. A minuscule arc crackled as she correctly wired it to the grounding plate. There, almost there. Running the diagnostics, she watched as the program flashed all systems nominal. Sweet relief coursed through her, almost buckling her knees. Snatching up a shop towel, she buffed the robot's gleaming chrome appendage. The conference room throbbed with a palpable energy. Lily positioned herself near the Helping Hand 3000, striving for an air of poised assurance. Abernathy, practically oozing self-importance, gestured in her direction. And now, Lily Chen, who will demonstrate the capabilities of her unique creation. Lily swallowed hard, forcing her lips into a semblance of a smile. Thank you, Mr. Abernathy. The Helping Hand 3000 is designed to empower individuals with restricted movement, enabling them to accomplish routine tasks with precision and ease. She pressed the activation on the remote. A quiet hum announced the robot's awakening. First, we'll showcase its dexterity, she declared, selecting a fine crystal glass filled with water. Deliberately, she placed it within the robot's metallic grasp. The hand closed with too much force. A gut-wrenching crack resounded through the chamber as the glass imploded, spewing water and razor-sharp fragments. Lily's stomach lurched. A slight calibration issue, she stammered, frantically jabbing at the remote's controls. Defiantly ignoring her input, the robot began to spasm uncontrollably. Its arm thrashed violently, toppling a nearby display stand that showcased promotional material. Leaflets pirouetted to the floor, like defeated fighters giving up the ghost. Abernathy's face hardened into an expression of barely contained wrath. A prospective investor, a woman encased in a severe charcoal suit, dabbed at her dampened jacket with a napkin, her features twisted with displeasure. The machine continued its berserk jig, its metal digits now flailing wildly. One connected squarely with the projector, sending it crashing earthward in a spectacular shower of sparks. Abrupt darkness swallowed the room. Lily stood paralyzed, caught in the strobing pulse of emergency lights, amidst the catastrophic remains of her presentation. A chilling premonition settled deep within her. She had crossed the wires, without a doubt. But not just on the robot. She had transgressed an invisible boundary. Disowned. The air in Mr. Sparks' office thrummed, not with the usual innovative energy, but a taut, precarious quiet. Ozone, a constant companion from the prototyping lab, now bit at her nostrils, sharp and acidic. Before his desk, Lily faced the wreckage of her assignment. His assignment, really, reduced to debris under her watch, displayed like evidence after a catastrophe. No shouting came. A deeper cut. His voice, typically a resonant boom, was a contained, low frequency. Lily, he began, his focus riveted to the fractured wires and shattered plastic. I'm deeply disappointed. She swallowed, fear left a tinny taste on her tongue. Mr. Spark, there's an explanation. The calibration drifted, and I tried to adjust, but a raised palm silenced her. Excuses, Lily. I provided exact specifications. I placed my trust in you. This held real weight, it wasn't just theoretical. He finally lifted his gaze, eyes, usually alight with amusement, were now glacial. This setback, it has ramifications. Beyond your current understanding. A cold dread pulled in her stomach. This transcended a bungled project, this was about forfeited faith. I know I messed up, sir. I'll remedy it. I can restart. I'll dedicate myself. He emitted a sigh, a deflating sound that seemed to suck the oxygen from the room. No, Lily. I don't believe so. I've extended chances, offered direction. But your impetuousness, your resistance to following instructions, it's become a detriment. The word hung, a stinging blow. Detriment. Not apprentice, not student, but an impediment. I can no longer offer my mentorship, Lily. The world spun on its axis. Her meticulously constructed reality, where she envisioned growth and advancement, shattered. But what about the quantum leaper? You spoke of my potential. Her voice, a thread of desperation. He rose, a towering figure. Potential means nothing without discipline, without precision. This proves you fall short. Perhaps your talents lie elsewhere. He moved towards the window, presenting his back, a clear dismissal. The cityscape stretched below, a tapestry of light and opportunity, all now seemingly beyond her grasp. Lily stood, paralyzed, the weight of his pronouncement crushing her. Wordlessly, she pivoted and left. The lab's hum, the animated chatter of colleagues, the clatter of machinery blurred into a dull, meaningless drone. The elevator doors parted, and she stepped inside, the chilled metal a stark contrast to the searing shame on her cheeks. As the doors glided shut, her reflection stared back, a pallid, gaunt visage, robbed of assurance, her aspirations suddenly frail and remote. The downward journey felt like a plunge into darkness. When the doors slid open on the ground floor, she emerged into the bustling lobby, utterly isolated. The vivid hues of the art, the purposeful strides of executives, the undertone of conversations, it all seemed to mock her inadequacy. She stepped into the night, the cool air offering scant relief from the burning in her chest. Discarded. The word echoed, a relentless, agonizing mantra. She had let him down. And in that failure, she had betrayed herself. City lights dissolved as tears pricked her eyes. She had to prove him wrong. She simply had to. Garage workshop. The garage air, thick with the acrid tang of motor oil, shimmered with dust motes caught in the feeble afternoon sun that knifed through a grime-coated window. Lily sagged against the cold steel of the workbench, a chill counterpoint to the burning humiliation rising within her. Mr. Sparks' pronouncements failure, unworthy echoed, each word a shard of ice. Yet, beneath the hurt, a different voice, a deep, resonant echo of his teachings, rumbled to life. Robotics weren't the only thing he'd instilled, the mantra of invention, fail fast, learn faster, was practically etched onto her soul. The finest steel, he'd often declared, is tempered in the fiercest flames. Don't be consumed, Lily, be refined. She straightened, resolve solidifying in her belly, a burgeoning strength. He might have lost faith, but she refused to surrender to despair. What was once a jumbled repository for cast-off tricycles and rusting tools now presented itself as a clean slate, her domain. She hauled the workbench closer to the sputtering fluorescent tube, its wobble a minor annoyance to be addressed later. The overflowing recycling bins became a treasure trove, her fingers combing through discarded plastic and crushed aluminum. She unearthed a defunct microwave, a goldmine of wiring and circuits. From a broken toaster oven came heating elements, humming with potential. A dead remote offered a bounty of buttons and infrared sensors. Each salvaged piece sparked a flicker of hope, a promise of creation. The toolbox, its rusty latch groaning in protest, yielded Mr. Sparks' well-worn tools, tangible ghosts of the past. The weight of them in her hands brought a fleeting ache of sadness, quickly banished. This was no longer about him, but about proving herself. Hours melted away, transforming the garage into a semblance of order. Tools hung neatly, salvaged components nestled in organized bins. A power strip, a lifeline to her future inventions, stretched across the floor. It wasn't elegant, but it was functional, and it was hers. Lily reached for a battered sketchbook and a handful of pencils. The familiar scent of graphite filled her lungs as she turned to a fresh page. No longer bound by rigid constraints, she would unleash her own vision. Her pencil flew across the paper, birthing a cascade of interlocking gears, a streamlined chassis, and the gleam of lead eyes. This robot wouldn't be built for competition or accolades. It would be designed to, she paused, considering the possibilities. It would be built to explore, to learn, to evolve. To endure. A subtle smile touched her lips. This robot would mirror her own journey. And this time, she would succeed. Sparky Jr. Lily hummed, a frantic energy thrumming through her as she tightened the last bolt on Sparky Jr.'s chassis. The robot, cobbled together from scavenged vacuum cleaner parts, a discarded tablet screen, and a healthy dose of Lily's ingenuity, wobbled precariously on her workbench. Wires snaked out like metallic spaghetti. Almost there, she muttered, her brow furrowed in concentration. A hand clapped her on the shoulder. Whoa, Lily. What's this magnificent beast? Maya's eyes widened, taking in the creation with a mixture of amusement and genuine admiration. This, Lily declared, puffing out her chest, is Sparky Jr. My new pet and, eventually, my ticket to early retirement. Maya laughed. A robot pet? What does it do? Vacuum up your homework? Better. Lily grabbed a bright red ball from a nearby bin. Sparky Jr., fetch. The robot whirred to life, its screen flashing a rudimentary smiley face. It lurched forward, its movements jerky and uncoordinated, nearly toppling over before righting itself. It bumped into a chair, spun in a confused circle, and then, finally, spotted the ball. With a triumphant beep, it zoomed towards it, scooped it up in a makeshift claw, and then, with a loud clang, deposited it at Lily's feet. Lily beamed. See? Fetch. Now, let's try watering the plants. The watering test was less successful. Sparky Jr., programmed with a watering schedule Lily had downloaded from the internet, overwatered the poor fern in the corner, creating a muddy swamp around its base. Lily groaned, grabbing a towel. Okay, maybe the watering function needs a little tweaking. Maya knelt beside her, helping to mop up the excess water. Hey, it's a first try. It's still pretty amazing, Lily. You built a robot that can almost play fetch and nearly drown a fern. That's progress. Lily sighed, running a hand through her already messy hair. I really want this to work. To prove to myself that I can do this. You are doing it, Maya said firmly, meeting Lily's gaze. You built a robot. That's way more than most people can say. And look at the bright side, now you know exactly what to fix. She paused, a thoughtful expression on her face. You know, you should show Sparky Jr. to other people. Get some feedback. Maybe even the tech club. Lily's eyes widened. Show it. To other people. Are you crazy? They'll laugh me out of the room. No, they won't. They'll be impressed. And even if they have suggestions, that's just free consulting. You're sitting on something cool here, Lily. Don't hide it away. Lily looked at Sparky Jr., now blinking innocently, the tablet screen displaying a pixelated question mark. Maybe Maya was right. Maybe it was time to stop hiding and start showing. Taking a deep breath, she said, "Okay. Okay, I'll think about it." The seed of courage, planted by Maya's words, began to sprout. The buzz around town. The high-pitched whine of Sparky Jr.'s rotors barely registered against the joyous shouts erupting from the park's young occupants. Lily, sharing a bench with Maya, felt a nervous thrill as she observed the swarm of kids captivated by her invention. The miniature drone, dialed down to a crawl, hovered inches above the verdant expanse, its vibrant LEDs winking playfully in the sunlight. "They are completely smitten," Maya chirped, bumping Lily's shoulder. Told why it was a hit. Giggles erupted as a girl, her pigtails adorned with bright pink ribbons, plucked Sparky Jr. from its flight. "It's like little kisses," she shrieked, hoisting it triumphantly. Eager hands reached out, faces beaming with unrestrained delight. A warmth blossomed in Lily's chest. Knowing she'd created something special was one thing, witnessing this unbridled elation was entirely another. "I'm still floored it's holding up," Lily confessed, unconsciously winding a lock of hair around her finger. "The lightweight frame had me braced for disaster." "Banish the worry. Look at them," Maya gestured expansively. "They are not dissecting frame integrity. They are immersed in pure, unadulterated fun. And you, my dear, are the purveyor of that joy, delivered in a pint-sized, buzzing marvel." A boy, knees stained green from the grass, approached Lily, cradling Sparky Jr. protectively. "This is the awesomest thing ever," he exclaimed, eyes wide with wonder. "Can it do loop-de-loops?" Lily chuckled softly. "Not quite yet, but perhaps in its next iteration." Gently retrieving Sparky Jr., she noted the slight warmth of its casing. "Battery's getting low anyway. Thanks for the test flight, everyone." As the day surrendered to dusk, stretching long shadows across the park, the captivated audience gradually dispersed. Lily carefully stowed Sparky Jr. in its custom case. "You know," Maya mused, a thoughtful glint in her eyes, "this is more than just a cool gadget. You're building something tangible here, Lily. A real venture, a real future." A swell of hope surged through Lily. Maybe Maya was right. Maybe this small endeavor, sparked by frustration and a need to prove her capabilities, could blossom into something truly significant. At the park's periphery, cloaked in the deepening shadows cast by an ancient oak, stood a solitary figure. Mr. Spark, his expression inscrutable, absorbed the scene. The dying sun caught the lenses of his glasses as he scrutinized the children's interaction with the miniature drone, a subtle furrow creasing his brow. He tapped out a note on his phone, the screen illuminating his face in the growing gloom. The buzz surrounding Sparky Jr. had resonated far beyond the confines of Lily's workshop. Invention Fair triumph. The morning of the Invention Fair dawned with an almost aggressive optimism. For Lily, however, it felt like a vice tightening with each intrusive sunbeam. On her workbench sat Sparky Jr., polished to a bright, slightly wonky perfection, awaiting his premiere. A final, frantic check of the wiring ensued, her fingers betraying her with their fumbling despite weeks of meticulous preparation. "All right, pal," she whispered, tapping Sparky Jr.'s metal cranium. "Showtime. Keep the explosions to a minimum, capish?" Then Maya burst in, a human sunbeam armed with a Tupperware container of cookies and an arsenal of encouraging words. "Ready to dazzle, lily pad," she beamed, eyes sparkling like tinsel. "As ready as I'll ever be," Lily conceded, wrestling Sparky Jr. into his bespoke travel carrier, a repurposed laundry basket fortified with foam padding. Maya dissolved into giggles. "Hey, it's functional," Lily defended, a smile cracking through the tension. The town hall throbbed with anticipation. Tables crowded the space, each showcasing a unique brainchild, from automated watering systems for plants to photovoltaic avian dwellings. Lily's insides did a somersault upon spotting Mr. Spark in the throng, his face an inscrutable mask. She established her station, carefully arranging the diagrams and explanations she'd painstakingly crafted. When her moment arrived, Lily wheeled Sparky Jr. into the spotlight. A small gathering materialized, their expressions a blend of curiosity and amusement. She inhaled deeply, adjusted the microphone, and launched into her presentation. Sparky Jr. is more than just a robot, she began, her voice wavering initially before finding its footing. He's a companion, an assistant, and a tool for learning. He can engage in games, provide reminders, and even tackle light household tasks. She showcased Sparky Jr.'s voice-activated software, prompting him to dim the lights, which he achieved with a noticeable flicker. A ripple of laughter arose from the spectators. Lily continued, detailing the robot's adaptable design, its potential for personalization, and its affordability relative to existing options. Then came the pièce de résistance, the demonstration of Sparky Jr.'s emotional support capabilities. Lily had programmed him to deliver encouraging pronouncements and execute a little dance when sensing distress. She pretended to be dejected, and Sparky Jr. sputtered to life, his lead eyes blinking in sympathetic rhythm. "Chin up, Lily," he declared in his digitized tone. "You're doing famously. Now let's cut a rug." He then embarked on a wobbly, off-kilter jig, nearly tipping over in the process. The audience erupted in a chorus of laughter and applause. Lily flushed, a mosaic of embarrassment and elation. She nearly lost her composure, but Sparky Jr.'s unexpected awkwardness had won them over. The judging process was an eternity. Lily paced, gnawing on her cuticle, as the judges deliberated. Finally, the mayor stepped forward to reveal the victors. And the first prize for originality and utility is awarded to Lily Chen and her creation, Sparky Jr. Lily froze, the words struggling to register. Maya squealed with delight, enveloping Lily in a celebratory embrace. She walked forward, dazed, to accept the enormous blue ribbon and a modest monetary award. Mr. Spark offered a perfunctory nod from the sidelines. Lily paid it no mind. She had triumphed. That evening, Lily and Maya commemorated the occasion with ice cream. "You were phenomenal, Lily Pad," Maya exclaimed, attacking a spoonful of chocolate fudge. Sparky Jr. was a sensation. Lily beamed, a warm glow spreading through her. "We were a sensation," she amended. "We both were. A new beginning." The fluorescent lights of the workshop hummed, a stark contrast to the nervous flutter in Lily's chest. Mr. Spark stood before her, not with the usual steel in his gaze, but something softer, almost sheepish. He cleared his throat, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. "Lily," he began, his voice unusually gentle. That was quite something you pulled off with the Agri-Grow too." "0, I was wrong. Terribly wrong." Lily stared, unsure if she'd heard him correctly. "Wrong." Mr. Spark never admitted he was wrong. He continued, fiddling with a stray wrench on his workbench. "I focused so much on the rigid parameters of the original design, I completely missed the spark of ingenuity you brought to it. The modifications, while unorthodox, were undeniably effective. You have a real talent, Lily." A wave of warmth washed over her, melting the lingering sting of his earlier rejection. "Thank you, Mr. Spark," she managed, her voice a little shaky. "No, thank you," he insisted. "For showing me that sometimes the best innovations come from thinking outside the box, even if that box is one I built myself." He looked up, a genuine smile finally gracing his face. "I was so caught up in the failure of the prototype, I almost missed that you have a working product." "So what does this mean?" Lily asked, cautiously optimistic. "It means," Mr. Spark replied, "that I'd like to apologize sincerely. And that I'd like to explore a different kind of mentorship. One where I encourage your creativity, not stifle it. I'm happy to continue working with you at the Tech Center, if you'd like to." He paused. "Perhaps we can brainstorm together, share ideas. I could learn a thing or two from you, I suspect." Lily considered this. The offer was tempting. The Tech Center had resources she couldn't easily access on her own. But she also knew she couldn't lose sight of her own vision. "I appreciate that, Mr. Spark. I really do. I still want to pursue Agri-Bloom independently. But I'd love to bounce ideas off you, get your input when I hit roadblocks." And I'd be happy to share what I learn along the way. Mr. Spark nodded, his eyes twinkling. A collaboration, then. A partnership of sorts. He extended his hand. Lily shook it firmly. A new beginning. Later that week, back in her own cramped apartment, Lily tinkered with a new prototype. This one wasn't for agriculture. The agri-grow success had given her the confidence to pursue another idea that had been bubbling in her mind for months, a self-cleaning, solar-powered filter for urban water sources. The memory of the murky canal near her grandmother's house, the one she'd played in as a child, fueled her. The agri-grow project had been a trial by fire, a crucible that had forged her into something stronger, something more resilient. She still made mistakes. The dropped screwdriver clattered on the floor, followed by a muttered curse, but now she didn't let those mistakes define her. They were simply data points, guiding her toward the next iteration, the next breakthrough. Mr. Spark's apology, his acknowledgement of her talent, was validating, but Lily knew her journey was far from over. This was just the first bloom.